Before every session at Royal Roads University, we would like to acknowledge that Royal Roads is located in the Lekwungen and Lakasomson peoples and families' lands. And it's with gratitude that now we learn and work here where the present, the future, and the past come together with non-Indigenous and Indigenous people, students, faculty, and staff. So welcome, everyone. So my name is Andrea Torres, and I'm going to be joining this session with a few people today. The first person is Dr. Ross Wall. He's the program head of our Master of Arts Graduate Diploma in Higher Education Administration and Leadership. And you are going to hear more about, he's going to be sharing more information with us. There are also two more people that you cannot see, and they're going to be providing some support in our chat box. The first person is Lisa Murray, and she's one of our enrollment advisors, and she's going to be sharing a lot of information with us today in the chat box and some very useful links. And then we have Amara, who is going to support you. So if you have any technical challenges, please let her know, and she will be happy to connect with you. So the agenda for today, we want to get to know each other. So welcome everyone. I have seen some people join us from Italy, welcome. And some people from Kamloops, BC, Calgary, Alberta, so welcome everyone, and we're very happy that you are with us today. I'm going to talk really briefly about Royal Roads University experience, and then I will pass over to Ross that is going to cover the program information. At the end, I'm going to talk about the admissions and the application process. And if you have any questions, please, or comments, please feel free to add that information at any time during the chat box. And we will make sure we cover that information through the webinar. So Royal Roads University, we prioritize small class sizes, and we want to make sure that everybody has an opportunity to connect and work with the classmates and the faculty. We want to make sure that this is an opportunity for you to advance your career, get to know and expand your network, and as well to challenge the ways of you have been doing work and also add value to your current work. Royal Roads University is a learning model focus not only in what people has to bring and has to offer, but also what our faculty can create that community and sense of community in our classroom. Our faculty come with a lot of work experience as well. They have been academic and working and doing research in the areas that they teach. It's very common that the program is designed in a cohort model. That means that you are going to be working most of the time with the same group of people. And we also have people coming through other courses that you might have some visitors and people that are going to be joining your class through your program. Our main goal when we are at Royal Roads is that we create a learning community where people feel safe to share and challenge everybody's knowledges. And of course, we want to be part of that learning process with you. Royal Roads University has been teaching in an online and a blended model for the last 26 years. And it has been a very interesting process for us to be able to create that community, not only in the face-to-face settings, but also when people are working online. We want to make sure that the education fits your lifestyle and you are able to keep working and taking care of your families while you complete our programs. So I'm going to pass over to Ross that is going to talk more about the program specific information.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you so much, Andrea. Maybe next slide. So that's great. So I'll just tell you a little bit about myself before I tell you about the program. I've been at the university for just a little less than a year now, so I'm still relatively new myself, but have just absolutely loved my time at Royal Roads University. Previous to joining RRU, I was one of the deans at Bow Valley College in Calgary, Alberta for many years. And I've held a number of other senior leadership and administrative positions in higher education in Canada throughout my career. So for me, it's been just a natural kind of progression to come to Royal Roads and teach in this program, and it's absolutely excellent. So the program itself, we have it divided into a number of parts, depending on people's interests and needs in advancing their careers. So the core of the program is the full 2-year Master of Arts program in Higher Education Administration and Leadership. 2 years, 33 credits. But within that, we've also divided up a number of other potential exit options that can be taken individually, or can also, if people so choose, can be taken and then those courses applied for credit later on in the full master's program. So we have the Graduate Diploma in Higher Education Admin and Leadership, which is essentially the first year of the master's program. But for some people, that's sufficient for their needs and the direction they want to go with their career. There's also there's really 3 graduate certificates, but let me talk about the first 2. The graduate certificate in systems leadership and the graduate certificate in development in international education. Actually, it's business development in international education. Both of those consist of 3 courses, 3 credit courses that are all part of the Master of Arts in Higher Education Administration and Leadership program, and so can be transferred over. The third certificate, the graduate certificate in strategic enrollment management, is also 3 courses, but one of those courses can be transferred to the master's program. The other 2 are highly specialized strategic enrollment management courses, and they currently are not part of the master's program. So those 2, if anyone were to choose to do that certificate as a first foray into this world, only one of those courses transfers right now. It is possible that in the future we will roll some of those other courses into the master's program, but that's not the case right now for those 2. Next slide, please. The MA program is really, it's designed to be broad. It is designed for folks who are working in higher ed right now and who want to advance their careers along the administration and leadership pathway for the most part. And so a lot of the emphasis is on the complexity of the systems that are involved in the interconnection, both within institutions and across institutions. That's important to understand at both a practical and theoretical level in those kinds of careers. Very much an applied program to help you become proficient, competent leaders in Canada's post-secondary world. Next slide, please. So these are a few of the kind of leadership issues that are addressed across the program, across the different courses. A lot about, you see kind of in the middle, managing complexity. And I don't see it right now off the top of my head, but managing complexity and systems thinking, systems approaches are emphasized across the entire program. But some of these other concepts, succession planning, leading and managing change, quality, some of the issues of human resource and financial realities in higher education come up. The other part that comes up is a little bit of supporting new models of learning, but not so much an emphasis on teaching and learning as much as what do new models of teaching and learning mean for the administration of our institutions. We emphasize that quite a bit. It's important that higher ed leaders be really open to and able to manage some of the fairly radical changes that are going on in our sector right now. Next slide. Some of the things we emphasize, and I've covered some of these already. One that I want to, and I'll come back to this as we look at the overview again. We really do seek to build enduring relationships. There's a heavy emphasis in our programs on teamwork, and that's partly because it's such an important part of the higher education workplace, but it's also because Canada's higher education sector is not huge, and it's important to get to know your colleagues, whether it's in Canada or and we do have some international students as well. Really important to build connections with each other and learn to think together, because in all likelihood, the folks that you go through this program with will also be people that you will encounter throughout your careers. And it's a great opportunity to build important relationships that will serve you well over the rest of your career. Next slide, please. Oops, there we go. Back to the kind of overview and program at a glance. Like I said, a 2-year program. The preparatory courses that you see at the top are very short. That's kind of the intake or sort of overview to make sure we get off together on the same, with the same shared understanding. We call the one course the link, and it's basically making sure everyone knows how to use the systems and understands the processes at railroads, and also includes an introduction to academic integrity. We then move to the required courses that are common across the program. 501 and 510 are the first 2 courses. That's the only time during the program that you'll take 2 courses at the same time. It is a fairly intense, significant period of work for new members of the program, and a higher workload than the rest of the program. That includes a residency, and I will just go back a little bit. Before I joined Royal Roads and going forward now, those 2 courses have been partly online and then have included an almost 2-week on-campus residency. During the pandemic, we went to an all-distance format. And so when I joined the program, I taught HEAL 501 entirely online, and 510 was also entirely online. This year, for this new cohort intake, we will be going back to a nearly 2-week residency, combined with online distance work for those 2 courses. So during July, there will be a period where participants will be on campus at the incredibly beautiful Railroads campus on Vancouver Island. After that, those 2 courses are done. HEAL 550, our systems thinking course, is next. All students take that course. Fantastic course. There are other students from across the university that choose to take that course as an option as well. Foundational to our program and incredibly well received by many students. At that point in the program, there's a choice to make, and that is to follow either the systems leadership pathway or the international education pathway. And that each of those paths consist of 3 courses. One focused a little more on systems leadership within an institution, the international education, a little more on the international perspective, but also a little bit more on the business development and business realities of conducting and organizing higher education on a global level. After those courses are done, we get to the completion section of the program. Right now, we have 2 completion or exit options. One is the thesis, and that consists of 2 courses, one on advanced research methods and completing the thesis proposal, and the other on actually completing the thesis itself. And the other is the research paper. That's a couple of additional courses, really 2 additional courses, plus then a course to complete the research paper proposal, and then time to actually complete the research paper. And that's a systematic literature review as opposed to primary research, whereas the thesis option is primary research, conducting an actual primary research project. Our capacity for the thesis option right now is somewhat limited. So there is an application process, and only a fairly small number right now of participants are able to complete the thesis option, just due to number of faculty and resources to move through that pathway. the majority of students will complete the research paper pathway. Next slide. I mentioned earlier that there are graduate certificates. So the certificate in systems leadership in higher education starts with the common course of HEAL 550, systems thinking and strategic planning, and then includes HEAL 520 and 530 that are global national perspectives on higher education, as well as a heavy focus on leading change within educational institutions, which is a complex challenge and a major focus of this certificate. Next one, please. Thanks. And then the other, these of course follow the pathways of the master's program, more focused on business development in the international sphere, recruitment of international students, the challenges of cultural differences in international and global education initiatives, and really the business side of conducting international education is the focus of this certificate. Next one, please. And then, as I'd mentioned, we do have what's quite a new graduate certificate in strategic enrollment management. It also consists of the core HEAL 550 and systems thinking, but we have two new courses. They are just in their first running right now. HEAL 580 just wrapped up, and HEAL 585, its first iteration is now underway. These are really on the theory and practice of strategic enrollment management, so heavily applicable to folks who are in the recruitment and registrarial world, but more and more appropriate for anyone who is involved in the higher level strategic planning of an organization. This is an excellent certificate to consider. And as I mentioned, currently HEAL 580 and HEAL 585 don't have a role in the larger master's program. So currently don't have a way to transfer their credits into the master's, but may at some point in the future. HEAL 550, of course, is part of the master's program. And it looks like we're at how to apply. So I pass the baton back to Andrea.
Thank you so much, Ross. So the first is standard admissions. So for standard admissions, we are looking for people that have a 4-year for comparable undergraduate degree from a recognized post-secondary institution. And we're also looking for a minimum of 3 years of relevant paid work experience within recognized higher education institutions. They can be public or accredited colleges, universities, polytechnics, or institutions providing formal education. So we are also looking for, I know there's always a question about what that leadership looks like. So for people that, for the concept of leadership, I don't know, Ross, if you want to jump in here. Sorry to put you back in the spot.
Okay.
Can you explain what kind of leadership are we looking for where people are applying to this program?
We have a very broad conception of what leadership might look like here. Here's what's really important. It's challenging to complete this degree program without having experience working in a higher ed institution. Many of the assignments draw on participants' experience in the higher education workplace. And so a leadership role, it may not necessarily be actually a manager at that level, but what we're looking for is that people have had a role of some significant responsibility within the planning and management and administration at a higher ed institution. It's challenging, in fact, to the point where we would not encourage folks to undertake this program without having that level of leadership experience.
Thank you. And there is another option that people can apply into a program, and it's something that we call flexible admissions. However, I want to let you know that when you're applying to Royal Roads, there's no box that you need to click, either if you're coming through flexible or standard. It's the people that are assessing your application that will decide if you're coming through standards or flexible admissions. So flexible admissions are applicants that normally we will require at least 7 years of work experience in higher education, and they have a combination of work as well as some education. So if you are not sure about how you fit into this flexible admission, if you have any other questions about how that can look like, I would recommend to connect with our enrollment advisors that can assist you, because we understand everybody's journey has been slightly different. So now the most exciting piece is how to apply into this program. So the first place, you need to complete an online application. And once you submit that application, you need to submit the following documents. The first document is a structured resume. So we want to know about your education, your work experience, training and professional development, any volunteer or unpaid work experience, leadership, or any specific trainer experience that you might have. If you are part of any professional membership or affiliation, and any other information that you would like to add into details. For the work experience, and it's very important that you provide not only the title, but also a small description of what kind of responsibilities you had during the time that you were working under each role, as well as the time that you were working either in the organization or in the role. The next document is the personal statement. I always said when I applied to Royal Roads to a different program, that was it was my favorite document when I'm applying to the program, because it gives me the time to pause and understand what was my motivation to come into the program and also to apply to Royal Roads. So basically in that personal statement, we want to know, it's an opportunity for you to tell us why you're interested to take this specific program and how this program is going to help you to meet your professional goals. There are a few specific questions that we are looking for you to respond in the personal statement. They are listed in the website, but I'm going to mention some of them at this point. So the first one is, what can you contribute to the class learning? What do you anticipate will be your challenges as a graduate student in the McGill program? What do you expect from the McGill program in terms of learning process? What do you envision for your professional goals once you have completed this program? And so those are some of the information that we are looking into your personal statement. And also if there is something that maybe you would like to leverage in more detail, please take the time in this personal statement. The next document are 2 letters of reference. I highly recommend, if you feel comfortable, to share your personal statement with the people that write those letters. That will give them a better understanding why you're applying to the program, and they can refer a specific experience or project that you have worked together, so that they can highlight that what you are bringing into the McGill program. And of course, the other document that is very important are the official transcripts. We're looking for any official transcripts from any post-secondary institution. So either you started at a college, maybe did 1 year, and then you moved to a different college or different institution. We would like to see both. For official transcripts to be official, they have to come in a sealed envelope. I know COVID has changed some of the practice across Canada and around the world. So one of the easiest ways to access this information is just to ask your university or college to send those details directly to us. So we have our incoming intakes. So if you're interested to apply into a master or a graduate diploma in higher education administration and leadership, our deadline is coming up, it's March 13th. So I encourage you to start your application as soon as possible. And the start date will be June 13, 2022, during the summer. For our graduate certificate in business development and international education, our deadline to apply to the program will be July 24 during the summer, and you will be starting on October 24th. For the graduate certificate in systems leadership in higher education, our start date will be August 15, and the deadline will be May 15. And for our last graduate certificate in strategic enrollment management, the start date it will be as well August 15, and the deadline will be May 15. So financial aid, we have an amazing team at the financial aid specialists that they will look forward to connect with you and help you to navigate the options that are available for you. Depending if you're applying to a graduate certificate or a diploma or the master program, there might be different options. It can be as loan, awards, research scholarships, and other funding available. So here's our website, as well the toll-free number where you can reach out and connect with them. And if you would like to learn more about our programs, deadline, application requirements, we have an amazing team. So you already have the opportunity to meet Lisa today, that she has been in the chat box, providing a lot of details, and they will be happy to answer any of your questions and help you to navigate your questions or help you to start your application. So we have two teams that will be willing and happy to support you. If you're a Canadian citizen, permanent resident, or refugee, you can connect with them and learn that more at royalroads.ca. And for international students or international residents or temporary residents, you can connect with our team and learn that more at international at royalroads.ca. And we also have a WhatsApp QR code that if you scan that code now, you can connect directly with us. So I'm going to check some of the questions that we have. So one of the first questions that we received is, if people complete the graduate diploma, if they will be able to ladder the 18 credits into our master program.
So the answer to that is definitely yes.
Perfect. I received another question, if you can provide some sample of maybe the current people that are in the program, if you can share maybe some of the titles, some general information about who are the current students in our MA as well as the graduate diploma.
So interesting question. It's quite varied, but there are definitely the higher percentage of folks in the program come from either the student services or the registrarial part of the higher education world, less from, say, the teaching and learning part of institutions. So we have a lot of people who are involved in student recruitment, a lot of people who are involved in some way in the registrarial world. We've had a number of people also from student affairs, a couple right now who are residence managers for institutions that have undergraduate residences. We've had a number of folks in that world, mostly early to mid-career individuals, although there's quite a bit of, even though that might be the slight majority, we've had a lot of people at later stages in their career as well. And the one exception I would say is that in the graduate certificate in strategic enrollment management, right now, partly because it's so new, that has had a somewhat more senior individual participants. So we've had in that program, it's been more people who are at the senior manager or even associate vice president level in that program. That will probably change a little bit over time, I would think. But right now, because it's new and because there are very few programs like it, it has been immediately popular with people in fairly senior positions who are leading those kinds of initiatives at their institutions.
Thank you, Ross. We have a question about if there's a way to complete this program as part-time or at your own pace, or do you have a specific course layout that you kind of move through the course?
It's a great question. It's not designed as a flexible at your own pace program. So the more common way to move through is with your cohort and to complete in 2 years. That basically one course at a time for the entire 2 years. And that is important to understand. It's a feature of the program in that we get people through in 2 years, but it can be intense. There's never really a break. Even over Christmas, there isn't an actual Christmas break. We the course carries over through that time, even though during the week of Christmas, we're not actually doing anything. But some people, of course, for a whole variety of reasons, have to take a break, aren't able to complete a course on schedule because things come up in their work or personal lives. And it is possible then, of course, to restart the next year. But having said that, it's designed to complete as a cohort. And often if you stop out and miss a course, it will mean not completing that until the following year and graduating with the following cohort.
So Rose, for those people that may be curious about the part-time, I also want to add that this program is designed for people that are working full-time. So yeah. I would say all of our students have a full-time job plus other personal commitments. And the program is designed that you will be able to do both.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And were you able to maybe elaborate a little bit more, Rose, about the asynchronous learning around roads and maybe the time commitment during a week, like maybe how a week looks like for a student?
So the courses are designed so that they are mostly asynchronous. We use Moodle as our learning management system, and the courses are 9 weeks long each, normally have 3 to 5 assignments, usually 4. One of those will be a team assignment. Most folks report that they spend about 10 hours a week on their coursework. It may be a little more at times, and of course that varies depending on the individual and the amount of time you have and the amount of time it takes you to complete various tasks. The synchronous portion, when we meet together online, does vary a little bit from course to course, but usually you can expect to have 1 hour or hour and a half synchronous session in each course every 2 to 3 weeks. Some courses we do them every other week. Some courses there are only 2 or 3 throughout the program, but you can assume that there will be at least 3 and up to 5 synchronous sessions during a course. Those are optional. You don't have to be able to attend in order to complete the program. We always offer options so that even if you're not able to attend those synchronous, same time, same place events, you can still complete the course successfully. So there's a lot of flexibility in terms of your ability to balance your courses with your work and personal obligations.
Thank you, Rose. And something that we normally hear from our current students and alumni is just share with the people that are around you that you are taking this new commitment. Let your stakeholders know and inform them about that you are going to be a little bit busier for the next 2 years and what kind of support you might need for them. And always we said we need to create some space every time we bring something new into our life. And we understand that it's a big commitment. And the people are navigating a lot of different situations at the same time at their school. And our program was designed for working professionals. So we want to make sure that everybody is successful through the process. So thank you so much, Rose, for your answer. There was a question about if you have been out of the school for many years, if Royal Roads offer some courses to prepare people in the academic. So Lisa kindly shared with us that we have a preparation course. It's about academic writing and critical thinking, I believe is the name. And we offer that program through our professional continuous studies. I believe it's a 6-month course, and you will be able to complete it fully online. We have a lot of students that complete the course even though they were in school a few years ago, and they always find the course very useful and help them to navigate some of the future challenges even though before they arrive. So I highly recommend people to take that course. And thank you, Lisa. It's an 8-week course and it's offered fully online. Another question for you, Ross. Is the residency a component only for the MA, or is also a component for the graduate diploma and the graduate certificates?
It's part of the master's degree and the graduate diploma. It is not the others. The certificates are fully online.
Perfect. And I believe, I think those are all the questions that I can see right now in the chat box. So anything else, Rose, that you would like to share with our attendees today?
The only thing I would share is, for me, looking back on my own career, had a program like this been available back when I was considering my own master's degree many, many years ago, this is what I would have taken. It is so well aligned with the needs of people who are building careers on the administrative and strategic side of higher education institutions, the management side. I truly wish that something like this had been available to me. So I obviously I love it, but it fills an important niche in the higher education landscape.
Thank you, Ross. And I saw there's a question from Jasad about if you will be able to complete this program. I assume you might be an international student, Jasad, and if you will be able to stay and work. So I'm not sure completely about your answer, but about your question, but I'm happy to send you an email and we can follow up directly with you and making sure that you have all the information that you need before you apply. So I will say with that, I want to thank everyone. Thank you, Ross, Lisa, and Tamara for being with us today. And thank you for all of you that took the time to spend the last 40 minutes with us to learn more about the MA in Higher Educational Leadership and Management. We look forward to connect with you. And if you want to explore a little more what the School of Education Technology is doing, we have here our blog. So please visit our blog to learn more about what we are up to. So thank you, everyone, and have a wonderful afternoon or evening, depending where you are. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thanks.